Hi everybody and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about properties of rectangles, squares, and rhombi. So we'll have, I think, two sections for this video. The first one's going to deal with rectangles, and then we'll go on from there. So first section, let's get it started with rectangles, a few properties from them, and then we can go from there. So what is a rectangle? So rectangle is a parallelogram that also has four 90-degree angles. So basically, if we break that sentence down, it's saying that all of its sides are parallel and all of its angles are 90 degrees. So there are a few properties based off of this. The first one is that it is a parallelogram is a rectangle if its diagonals are congruent. Secondly, a quadrilateral is a rectangle if it has four 90-degree angles. So let's take a look at what each of these two properties mean. So we'll draw a rectangle, and if we're looking at our diagonals here, what this actually means is not only are they split into equal parts, so not only does this equal this, but all of them have to be equal. So this also has to equal this part as well. So before, with just parallelograms, only the opposite sides of them bisected each other, so we only worried about the other side. But this time with a rectangle, all of the pieces are exactly the same. Secondly, maybe the slightly more obvious one here, is that if you have four 90-degree angles, then you're good to go. It's a rectangle. So those are the two major properties that we're looking at there for rectangles and those theorems that basically we can go and solve for any and all unknowns. So let's go over an example problem, something that you might see shortly on the worksheet here with a rectangle. So here's our rectangle. They give us a few lengths. So they tell us that this is 5 inches. They tell us that this angle right here is 50 degrees. We know that this is 7 inches. And we know that this is 4 inches. So based off of the properties from before, we know that rectangles are parallelograms, so opposite sides are equal, so we can fill those in right away. We also know right away that our diagonals are all equal to each other. So this has to be 5 inches, this has to be 5 inches, this has to be 5 inches as well. Next, we know for our angles that they add up to 90 degrees, which means that 50 plus this measure here has to be 90, so that has to be 40. So again, 50 plus x equals 90. The x that we fill in for that is 40 degrees. So that is how we can fill in all of our missing pieces here, and that's kind of our idea. So secondly, if we're looking for maybe other angles like here and here, remember that these lines extend and they are parallel, and remember back from a unit ago that we have some properties that we can use for this. So we know that this one would be 50 and this one would be 40, again, based on our properties from Unit 2. Okay, so we'll keep going with this. That's kind of the idea for these rectangle problems is use the properties that you have, use the things that you know to fill in the unknowns. And again, a lot of the worksheet that you're going to be working on with the next 2 or 3 questions is just focusing on basically solving for things that you can fill in based off of these properties. So as a reminder, 4 90-degree angles, and all of the diagonal pieces are congruent. In addition to that, all of the things from parallelograms still hold true. So we still have opposite sides that are equal.